Hello everybody, my name is Nevalon, welcome to today's new PvP video, and today we're gonna play Strength Eniripsa in 3v3. So, I would say 3v3 is best mode where Eniripsa is doing the greatest, and it's very strong support for the team. So our belt contains two parts of the from the battle set, so the belt and the hat. We got the three parts of the depth set, so the amulet, the hammer, and the ring. We got the two parts of the volcanic set, so the shield and the boots. We got the cloak of thousand excuses for the, obviously the resists, but I would say on any Eniripsa it's worth having the 6 MP due to how immobile is the class. So it's pretty handy. So whether with Abyssal or as we have here with the 1000 excuses, so making it like we don't necessarily need to put Abyssal on this build unless you like it, would prefer it this way, then go for it. And also we get the Brucey ring, mainly just to get the +1 range. So because we got like two of the spells, where one of them, especially I'm gonna talk about it in a second, is range modifiable, and it's the spell that is over here, the Ancestral Ointment, which is really one of the best single target healing spell. However, also not just healing, but also damaging, where you can reduce the 25% of the healing received, and also you can increase it on your allies as well. So if somebody is in trouble. However, there is even stronger spell about which I'm gonna talk in a second for the healing, and I'm gonna try to present how to make use of it, hopefully in this video. As for the stats, as we can see, obviously, resist as usual, I present only the solid ones. We got a nice pushback res of 180. We got, obviously, the high initiative because of the Scrot, which I think I didn't mention. Yes, Scrot is also like, here I put for the AP, obviously, but also because in solo 3v3, I prefer to have like high initiative, even if I'm not really the first, but let's say second. But to at least, be able to buff up my allies. And, I personally, I just don't like being last in initiative when I'm playing. I mean, Eniripsa is the class that easily can be first, could be eventually last. However, since you never know whether you can rely on your allies, it's maybe, it's worth using this one. I mean, you can always go something like Reinhitel. There's no way of like, you can, adjust it to your preference. For the Dofus, of course, we got Ivory and then Ochre. If you want the 5 range, you can always go also with the Sylvan. However, I played with the build that didn't have any range, and it was working just fine. However, it had its disadvantage of like, for example, when somebody would reduce me the range, which Eniripsa can self-debuff. However, it's like, for example, if it would be like a turret from Mecha Flip, then I couldn't use Ancestral Ointment, but it's like, a random singular situation, for example. And yeah, we got some heal points, which is always convenient. We got 2 summons, so even if you want to play with the Prygen, you still can easily go for it, and you will have 1 summon. You don't really need more, since the fairies don't count as a summons. And I'm gonna talk a little bit. I personally lately prefer to play with the Coney rather with the Vial. I played with the Vial before. However, I would say Vial is better when you play, for example, with int AP reduction. But I came to the preference of using Coney more in 3v3. Despite it, Vial you can place it anytime you want to, like buff buff AoE in AoE, for example, or debuff the erosion. However, you know what? It's up to you. I personally lately prefer the rabbit. So yeah, I guess about the stats, it's all we got. I also can show you that there is also a variant that I've made for like AP parry, so using the Harpy set, which you can use basically in any sort of build, really. You got overall like 3 parts with the boots, cloak, and the amulet. You can test it out on your build, and it's providing very nice AP MP parry, and also 2 parts of them already giving you very convenient stats. Plus also we got some heals, and surprisingly, despite having higher heals, because of the strength stat being lower, and of course our spells are healing also based on that stat, So if we, for example, take a look over here at the mentioned before Ancestral Ointment, you can see that the healing on the build with the higher heal stat is a little bit lower comparing to the one with lower healing stat. And again, it's mainly because of the strength stat over here, and it's like kind of like balancing out. I don't know exactly how it calculates, but we can see the numbers over here. So as I also want to dig into the spells, I want to point out a few things, since whenever I see many Eniripsa players playing, it's like they don't take really a full advantage of the class. For example, they don't debuff erosion from their allies using Word of Youth. They don't use, for example, use often Word of Recovery for the full HP, like even if the person is already, like, let's say, eroded, full heal, right? And it's also linear, 5 AP cost, and unhealable for 4 turns. Let me tell you guys, Uniting Word is the way, and I will try to show you how to properly use it with like spawning fairies and also keeping the encouraged states, which is basically like, for example, any of these fairies or any of or like some, for example, Simulating Word or Word of Youth. So these are the encouraged states, and they basically can increase the healing on specific target, while obviously taking the HP from your fairies that are up and your allies under the state. You guys can take a look and read about how the spells are working, right? I'm trying like to explain best like in a short way to like not extend the video too long, the intro. I'm gonna try to present you in the fight. What I also lately play more is, in past, obviously, at the rework, Scalper was very often like used because it was very strong. They nerfed it to the ground, and people went just frightening Word because, you know, free 1 AP push, so you can delock if somebody is like locking you, and it's not like Feka with the gravity glyph. However, lately I'm also playing with the Scalpel, because debuff and the neutral, especially that since we're playing strength, right? So if we obviously extract 1 strength, we're gonna have the neutral damage. So, you know, we got the neutral spell, that's one thing. It's also a debuff, whether for your allies or for the enemies. And in certain cases, this spell, I've been playing with it and it's doing just great in certain situations. We'll see if I will be able to present it in the fight. But again, you can play around and see which one you prefer more. So yeah, guys, we got already 8 minutes of talking about like the build and the spells. So without much of a further ado, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, check me out on the Twitch TV/NevalonV2 where I stream, and check out also the Discord community Discord server, which link is also in the description. And let's get straight into the fight. Alright, now we got the game. We got the, looks like a pre-made of Ujnak plus Feka, and me being on Eniripsa. Now against Panda, Iop, Masquerader, I really don't like this comp. And the fact that we're playing duo, I mean, I'm kind of not surprised. I have a decent rating on this Eniripsa, so, and I already tried to record a few matches. However, not a fan of them, so I keep trying. And so, got the initiative, got the eggs. I'm not sure. I kind of wanted to maybe swap the... you know what? Doesn't matter. Let's see. How do we see? Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so first of all, we definitely wanna... how do we do? So I'm gonna boost the MP straight up onto the Ujnak. I'm gonna spawn the Kuni. We're gonna buff the AP. Let's do like this. Oh, I kind of... I misplayed. Actually, I wouldn't... Actually, I should have played it differently, but I was a little bit under the time pressure, so that's unfortunate. Alright, that is not a trouble. We're gonna bring Eniripsa do like this, bring Eniripsa back into the middle. And let's for now chill out somewhere over here, or like probably could have kept it like a little bit closer, but that's a detail. Alright, we got the pushback Masquerader into, and what is it? I assume it's gonna be a chance Ujnak. We got the strength Feka, I'd say. And okay, there's a precipitate onto the mask. Interesting choice. There is nothing onto the panda, and then let's see. Okay, yeah, we got this is a chance one. He's boosting himself MP. Now the question is, what is gonna be the choice? Honestly, ideally, it's better to focus here Masquerader. However, he is gonna go onto the on the IOP, right? Double into Ulna into you. Okay, he's poison into Ulna. Alright. Fine. Let it be for now. Let's see what's gonna be next. We got the erosion coming in. Something that I definitely would rather debuff, even though we have a Feka, which is kind of like, you know, inconvenient. However, you know, getting rid of the erosion is always gonna be a bigger value rather than we always got Feka shield, we got it always invulnerabilities, and let's be real, Ujnak is tanky enough by himself. Hard AP reduction onto the IOP. Now, thing is that Panda and Mask could possibly, like, I mean, ideally I'd rather focus on the Mask. However, maybe it's not so bad. Okay, this is kind of nice against the against the Feka because it reduces the AP reduction. And we got the double poison on them. I definitely... Okay, so that's gonna be the turn. Now, I'll be honest. So first of all, my goal is gonna be like this. I'm gonna debuff him just to rebuff him AP back, and I know I debuff the Rampart, however, I don't think it's much of an issue right now. We got actually a fairy over here, and we could probably send another one simply. I'm actually not sure if I can spawn another one. I can, right? And we can just hit this guy since we don't have really too many choices over here. Let's just full damage, and now we're gonna do let's do minus AP onto the Masquerader, and then let's get him out of here. Like that. Now I kind of wanna reposition my Eniripsa. I want it to be next to the wall. And let's give some shields to the Ujnak. Alright, that's actually pretty fine turn. 7 AP still on IOP only. Masquerader decides to play fully safe. And uses Coward and then Comedy to get him a little bit on their side. Full passive turn, but it's at least good for us. I guess Masquerader would have to... I mean, I don't think it was like the problem, even though the Ujnak was unshakable. I mean, he could have removed it regardless. No question. I'd say he got the line of sight here, right? So he could boost Ulna into radius, or he can just do Sniff. That's even cheaper. Boosting the the erosion into double Ulna, double poison, and that's very strong. That's very nice. And also triggering the Pet Legend. That's actually way cheaper than I had in mind, and way better for sure. So erosion is already popping off onto the IOP. I debuffed the erosion from my Ujnak, and now IOP would have to refresh it. So that's a little bit troubling. There is still one turn of the rampart, even though it's visually bugged, but it should go down on from the Ujinak by this turn. Let's take a look. Okay, he rebuffs, he reapplies the erosion, and as you can see, the rampart is gone indeed. And we continue, I guess, rushing, looks like. P.E.K.K.A. shield, yes, and I will not really debuff right now since I don't think there is really a point. Instead, I'm gonna try to... Now, the problem against this comp is that they have 2 unhealable states, so this is very huge trouble for like an Eniripsa. Okay. Now, the glyph is gonna be definitely annoying on this zone. I'm gonna try to maintain as often minus AP on to the Masquerader as possible. Their IOP is in trouble, AP is reduced. He did Pressy, huh? Okay, he did Pressy. Okay, gonna send the Ujinak like that. Now, I'm very concerned that the minus effect may happen. Okay, okay, now I have to debuff still regardless. Because it's because of the... Alright, we're gonna have to do something of this kind. So first of all, I'm gonna rebuff AP on myself. Let's do... I'm gonna get like a fairy over here. I mean, not necessarily, however. Let's do like this. Let's swap. Let's debuff. As much as I'm not really a fan of doing it. We're gonna hit like that. We're gonna trigger the pain state, and this way we also... Now, do I wanna pull him out? Actually, no. The Cactus Boots are gonna push him away, push him out of here. Let's get Kuni closer. And I will not be able to give him shields, which is not convenient. Let's boost ourselves like this, and let's get out of the zone. Alright, that's not the worst of the turn, I would say. Debuffs the IOP, okay. Now, the reason why I had to change my mind to debuff the Ujinak is simply because the Pandawa hand is not debuffable, and I'd rather, it's not because of the erosion. I wanted to keep the Ujinak to have still the damage. So that was quite a nerf onto the spell, and I took the advantage best I could to like, you know, for it to not happen. Now, the erosion is debuffed of the IOP. However, he could probably reapply it, and he may gonna do this, and then transform and then apply Ebony. What is interesting that he's more sucking poisons from vertebra rather. Okay, he's just gonna... Okay. He's not reapplying the... He's not reapplying what it's called, the erosion. Maybe he just doesn't want to transform. However, against the pushback, I'm not sure. I mean, IOP is not losing that much of an AP. Maybe because the minus AP reduction debuff from the panda is doing the job. All right. Now, I can't really take advantage here, considering how we're playing, how they keep eroding and they got unhealable states. I cannot like take advantage of something like a Uniting Ward in here, because Ujinak keeps dropping HP while also, and it's like pretty much the same amount as the maximum HP. Now, also this problem is like putting the invulnerabilities onto the Ujnak is not really ideal due to the fact that Panda can just easily debuff. I mean, both Panda and Mask can debuff anything that Feka applies. We're gonna keep focusing. Okay, keep the focus onto the IOP. Mask, despite playing pushback, he's playing very passive turns to keep the to make sure to like try to like take the IOP down. I feel like on my turn is gonna be like this, that I'm gonna simply he's playing bamboo. That's interesting. I mean, usually you prefer, like, obviously playing... Okay, he's gonna apply rotate state so he can get out of there, so he's unlockable now. Okay. Alright, sir. I feel like we're gonna keep debuffing you. Let's buff AP to everyone. And I wanna now do the turn so I can somewhat damage. However, I'm not really great at line of sight, right? Actually, I'm not that bad either, am I? Wait, am I? Let's do like this. Mark them, explode them, and give the maybe anchored state to the Feka, so he got some damage. Why not? Do I wanna pull him out? I feel like no, I'm gonna just turn into... I wanted to shield myself also. I'm gonna just shield my Ujnak a little bit. Okay, Ardur, so Ardur used for the Masquerader to delock. However, he's still losing a bit of AP. And what is he gonna do? Okay, doing finally first pushback damage throughout this entire match. Turn 4, he did his Carnivalo turn. Okay, he's taken advantage of me to also like pull himself closer. And okay, we got the Ebony trigger. And also he got the melee stack because of the pet passive Scorpion, which poisons him in melee. And he got the double poison plus the Ebony and the Glyph. And the IOP is actually down. Wow, surprisingly, we are doing pretty solid so far. And so there goes the Rage Quit. And now we got the Rampart back. Ujnak is still alive despite being eroded down to 2k. And honestly, this match I feel like is not so bad. Even though I guess I could maybe go for another one, and maybe I will. As you can see on this one, here's the thing. I got the Feka here, and despite having Feka and of course debuffing the Feka buffs from my teammate, I would say it's considering like the order of like the initiative also, I guess the whole situation. I mean, okay, let's be real. The debuffs anyway did the job here, right? Like making sure that Ujnak keeps the power from the that Pandawa was about to like remove him. That erosion needs to be reapplied over and over. Neither of them, whether Panda or Mask also like really played that aggressively. I mean, especially Mask play incredibly passive game. Now, I'm gonna... Let's think. I'll just send the Kuni over here and buff everyone AP, because why not? Because why not at this point? Let's break the Ivory. Maybe this way. Okay, let's break the Ivory like this. Let's trigger the Painted State, and then let's do some damage onto the Panda, because why not? And now let's shield the Ujnak, heal him up as much as we can. We want him still alive. I'm gonna try to keep the focus onto their Panda. Okay. Masquerader coming over here. Gonna go on Ujnak. Yes. And, well, minus 1,300 also from the Buhurado. And there we go, the poison also from the Skurvian Toxicity. Surprisingly, I didn't know that this passive, actually, this is something that I'm learning. This passive is being affected, that it's, the damage from the damage reduction is actually affecting it. Very interesting. I didn't know that. It's completely new. Marrowbone, now this is the spell which should be stacked, and I mean it's so nicely stacked, doing some solid damage onto the panda, plus the poison, plus the passive is kicking in. Here we go. Now, P.E.K.K.A. shield onto the Ujnak, double invo, fair, and then we go, we're killing the panda. Oh, with the glyph, I guess, why not? Alright, and at this point, they left the game. I didn't even do that much healing. I was more focused on like debuffing and being like pretty much entire utility rather than damaging. So maybe one more match is gonna be seen, or maybe one of the previous matches that I've recorded before is gonna be right now. So whatever is gonna be after, you guys probably see. So let's see. Alright, here I am again, and I decided to make use of the video that I've already recorded. However, I'm recording the audio again, so after already not being in a game, so I'm doing pretty much the way I used to do with my first 3v3 videos that I was uploading in the past, previous year, let's say. We got Chance Eka Flip in our team, Agility 0 into Intelligence, Panda, Chenshram, and the Strength. Fortlands being last in initiative and being pretty much in front, of which Eka Flip is taking like the zone over here just to erode him, and despite him having Pre-Generate, I think the other two don't have like Pre-Generate. Definitely I recall that Shram didn't have it, but he's taking just the diagonal here, and he hits Fortlands a little bit. However, it's not gonna be our primary focus, already telling you over here this, and so... what I wanted to previously show is that I wanted to show how the uniting word is just supposed to be used, and in this game I will have like two situations where I'm not gonna lie, like I mean in one situation I kinda misplayed, which I will be talking about in a moment, and I'm gonna show you how how strong the spell actually is and how it's how to take the advantage of it. Okay, the paralyzing trap was placed, and as you can see, we already got minus 2 MP. However, it's debuffable, even though it's for 2 turns, which I will be doing here right now. I'm gonna spawn the Coney, and I will first debuff us in AoE. I'm thinking a little bit, I guess, too long. Oh yeah, the traps also here, I triggered them. So yeah, I debuff, I heal, the Coney is being hit a little bit, and then I'm like buffing the AP to everybody, and so yeah, I mean the MP for this turn is gonna be removed, which is very annoying. However, on the next turn it's gonna be gone. The paralyzing trap last 2 turns. I've now was left with 3 AP, and I guess I kind of didn't know how to spend it on. But doesn't matter, it's a detail. I probably could have applied just painted stain on somebody, because I think I could have even sent like just AP reduction fairy. However, I'm not sure if I think it could have maybe reached Fortlands. Anything could have been done, but I was playing just slow. Panda over here, even though I usually say if you're last in initiative, especially completely last, it's better not be in front, even if you're playing Pregen, because you can, you know, be pulled out, you can be hit or something, you know, it's just not good. However, here we got more like a setup characters, so Eniripsa and Zalor, like, I mean, will not really be much of a threat early. I mean, Eniripsa in a way could be by just sending the fairy, and through the wall you could like just get out of this fortunes, but I wasn't even intending to do this really, because I just know that he would want to like be here, and we're in very like zone where, you know, it's very good zone for the AoE, for the Fortlands. But what I'm on about is that in this scenario, I mean, Panda, you know, pretty much sends the Fortlands forward. We don't really have a characters to like pressure them. We're more like setting up and the map is also kind of small, so you know it wouldn't make much of a difference if I would bring him through the wall. In this particular case, we wouldn't take much of an advantage. It would be more that they would have an advantage because Fortunes would kind of like it in this situation. Zeller is not playing the greatest overall in this game, and let's be real, in our team, we got only buff AP on the Zeller. So yeah, he didn't know how to set up. I mean, we are very tight in spaces. Here, honestly, I was thinking that Fortunes should like clean the dial normally. However, it's only buffing the it's only buffing the Zeller, so maybe not so much. And our Eka flip is on the pressure, so you can see it's being hit already because you know, as I usually say, like Prygen is better for the solo 3v3. As you can see, I'm already presenting that because the Uniting Ward works on the allies in the anchored state. So one thing, I'm not sure if I said it in the previous videos, even though I was rewatching and I was just putting the audio tracks and listening to more of them more or less moments ago, but I don't remember anymore what I've said. So one thing you gotta keep in mind that if you wanna use the Uniting Ward, you gotta make sure that the target you're going for is under the anchored state. So you got AP buff, power, or slash the variant the MP, or the youth state from the debuff. So we gotta make sure that ally is under the state. In this case, we got the if I would want to heal Ujinak with the sorry, not Ujinak, the Eka flip with the spell, then he is already in the anchored state from the AP buff. So basically, he gotta have this yellow icon on top of his head. Let's say it simple as that. Nothing else but this yellow icon. If he doesn't have it, then Uniting Ward will not work here. Alright, the chance Shram is very much of a counter against like a chance Eka flip, because every Eka flip chance is being crit, right? And okay, like I'm gonna show you exactly how the spell works. But yeah, he casted Jinx, and Jinx minimizes the spells, right? And he's playing crit, so it's very anti-crit build. And what I do here, I spawn the Fairy, and as you can see, the healing is increased because the vitality is being taken away from all the targets that are under crit state and gonna be sent into the one that I'm going for. And that includes also the Fairy. So but in this case, what I should have done, so as you can see, even Fairy got the icon, I should have spawned first the AP Fairy, and then spawn the Youth Fairy. Why? Because the summons play in the opposite order of the way you're spawning here. And here I'm also doing another misplay because I'm getting close to the Panda. Zeller is pinging me to place the Fairy so he could teleport, but I'd rather relock him, and the Fairy could die with just one hit, despite having 300 vitality. One hit kills the Fairy instantly, even if you do 0 damage. So I should have spawned the first Stimulating Ward into the Youth Ward, and then first debuff, so I could debuff the Jinx from the Eka flip, and then right after the AP Fairy would play, and I would buff the AP. And as you can see, my misplay is causing me being in the unhealable state, which is pretty much a counter to any healer. We got the Stabby onto the Zeller, which is also another annoying part. So yeah, that's another one misplay, which I will try to show more visually later after this match. I will go and record another part of that. But yeah, basically, as long as the allies are, all the allies in okay, not all the allies, but specific allies are under anchored state, or if the fairies are up, they always have the anchored state on top of them. So from those targets, the Uniting Ward is gonna take the certain percent of the HP. This is a nice turn, by the way, by Zeller, like keeping me safe from Forge, so he needs to like run for me. That's very handy. And if the allies, for example, if let's say if I wanted to heal myself, but my Eka flip and the Zeller wouldn't have the anchored state on top of them, I wouldn't get the HP from them, but let's say I could spawn the fairies and I would get the HP from fairies. So you can check it out on the pouch. I will try to like show it later on, but let's focus on the game. So as you can see right now, one thing that I also wish that Zeller did here is that he could put the conservation on me, and I would get the damage reduction since I'm on the unhealable state. So obviously I'm gonna be the main focus, but I guess priorities. And so the only thing that can really save me here is the shields, which I'm gonna receive from the Eka flip. Now I wish that I could have buffed the AP before, he could have the +2 AP, but you know, that misplay kind of, it's nothing big over here. However, still is something worth paying attention to, and keep that in mind if you wanna like use like debuff, like for example debuff fairy into like buff fairy. So you first like spawn the buffing fairy and then debuff fairy. It's same cases like for example when Osamodas, I mean Osamodas right now is being nerfed with the mischievous Gob Gob. Here he goes, 1000 shields, very handy. So sometimes I've seen Osamodas doing like they should spawn always mischievous at the end because this will be the first one to play, but sometimes they are like spawning mischievous and then spawning another summon, and when they transform mischievous into, let's say, tier 3 summon, then that summon just doesn't play. So you know, so another factor is the same case like kind of like with the Sadida, and but about Sadida maybe it's gonna be the next video. Right now let's focus already now on this game. As you probably just watching while listening to me, I'm being eroded, I'm being in an unhealable state, I'm being primarily focused. What I'm here now gonna do is gonna use the Scalpel to debuff myself the erosion. So even though obviously I'm unhealable state, I cannot really heal myself. However, I want to get rid of the erosion. So once I will be able to, I'm hoping that I'm gonna in this moment that I'm gonna stay alive. I'm now trying to cancel. They think that I should focus on the panda here. However, I wouldn't do enough damage. I had 12 AP. I didn't rebuff the AP on myself before. I'm not gonna do it even now. I'm gonna just rebuff the AP onto my Eka Flip, seeing how that he's main damage there. I was thinking about sending eventually like also the shield galvanize. I can't remember how it's called in English. But the shielding fairy, but it wouldn't be enough AP. I want it to like dash away and just keep the distance. Panda is gonna send the Fortune forward, I guess. I'm trying like to just jump away, just buy some time eventually, and you know, they make them so they chase me. Panda is just want to like full focus me. Right now I don't have unhealable state, however the like Zeller will not be able to like heal me or anything. Eka Flip in theory could, but you know what, it's not what I'm expecting here. I just wanna distance myself, like buy some time, and just hope that you know, they're gonna kill the panda. And so I was hoping here that maybe Panda is gonna be damaged by the Zeller. However, the damage Zeller is gonna just... Oh yeah, that's another thing. I wanted him to just send him like through, but Zeller decided like to play a little bit differently. Goes Remanence. That is actually handy, you know, I can't complain on the Remanence. He could have done like Remanence into just what it's called. The intelligence spell that just he used before, like to swap me with the coward. I forgot the name, but whatever, you know, I wanted him to just use it so he could send the Fortunes behind the wall. However, you can see what he's doing. He's just doing stuff. Remanence, release, some telefrag, yada yada. Now, Fortunes goes in, and the only thing he can is drag them together, and he's gonna use the Punch-On. So, basically a very, yeah. Now the Eka Flip cannot like delock himself with the, with for example, Leap, Catnip, whatever the variant he's playing. He cannot use Crabs. He cannot basically get out of here. And it's used on the Fortunes. Something that I think I didn't even say that you can do when I was making my Fortunes video. So now you guys can see that Fortunes can self-cast it, and you know, it increases the lock, and he's locking the Eka Flip in the zone. But still, Eka Flip got enough AP, so chance Eka Flip, and he's already going on the Panda, pushes away the Shram, and the damage goes on to him. 600 already from luck, from what I see, and here goes another luck for 600 Yahtzee, and there we go. Now, if I was a pro in the zone, he could probably just do, you know, what it's called, second chance, in order to like protect me, so I could have a damage reduction from a Shram. But here, I mean, I'm far away for that. And now I'm hoping, I'm just praying, you know, I have Ivory up right now. I'm just praying that, you know what, maybe Shram will not kill me. And here we go. Breaks the Ivory, 1600 HP. I'm surprised, I'm gonna tell you, because of course I'm recording it after this match was done. The sword, ooh, and that was very close, but far away. And look at me, 500 vitality. As you can see, I have Encouraged State on my Eka Flip. Now I'm rebuffing AP on myself, but I already had the Word of Youth on me. And now I'm spawning one fairy to send it on the on my Zelor. I got another fairy. I'm increasing the healing I'm received with the Ancestral Ointment, and as you can see, I'm taking the HP from the fairies and from the Eka Flip. The Zelor is untouched over here. Make sure, and I'm also casting the another heals, right? So as you can see, from 500, 2.5k healed up just like that, and I'm sending the fairies remain alive, and I can send them to buff my ally. In this case, I'm buffing the Zelor, right? So that's how you use it, but make sure to be careful, because as you can see, it takes percentage of your allies, so you gotta make sure that it doesn't like take too much of a, like, if there is like one of your allies that is maybe under the threat, sometimes you gotta pay attention to that, so you don't take the HP out of them, because, you know, for example, you know, there's like, basically you gotta pay attention of everyone's HP, just so you don't take too much out of them. Or if you like, for example, you can use the spell multiple times, so you can, like, for example, use the Uniting Word on yourself and then on specific ally. Play around with that and you will find out your way. Okay, Zelor did apply himself some dodge, and he did some hits now on the Shram. We're basically close to the game. I'm still alive. Nobody from us is dying here. I made sure also that, like, erosion was, that's why I wanted to erosion to be gone. They didn't, it's not reapplied, so you know, of course, a part of Unhealable State, erosion is the other counter to healing, obviously. However, obviously, Unhealable State is the worst one, especially when it comes, for example, I mean, Masquerader one is actually the worst, because it doesn't, like, for example, the Panda one is at least 4 cells and linear, while Masquerader is range modifiable, and Panda one applies the melee inboost, so against me, if you have melee classes that hit, right, it's, you guys get the point, right? I think you guys get the point. Anyways, that's all I kind of wanted to show over here in this fight. The fight is about to be over, and I'm just gonna visually show you on the pouch again how to play with the Uniting Word, and then I guess we're gonna the video is gonna be, you know, over. Oh, that's recop, nice. That when it crits, it's still very, yeah. And then Forge Lance already doesn't have much to search. So, GG for this one. As you can see, did some healing, and only Eka Flip was doing damage over here. Nobody else. Alright guys, now it's time for me to show you exactly how the spell is properly used. Now, something that I didn't even say, that this spell is of course range modifiable, so that's another reason why to have some range on this on your build. So first of all, we gotta have the Anchor State, right? So let's buff, for example, the shield one. We lost a little bit of a vitality, but for a reason I did it. As you can see, if since he doesn't have the Anchor State, I could like take the away from the vitality from him, from my Sakri, onto myself over here. But since yeah, but that's one option. I usually am not really playing with it. I haven't played it this way. Usually the way I'm doing is, okay, so the turn on the Eka Flip was supposed to look like this. So first of all, I was supposed to spawn the Simulating Word, right? Okay, first of all, he would have to be in the Anchored State, so maybe I'm gonna pass the turn, really. And I'm gonna buff any state for at the moment. Let's put the shield, right? So right now he gets the vitality HP from me, actually. But what I meant to do is that first of all I would spawn the Simulating Word, so the AP Fairy, and then the Word of Youth, so I wanted to debuff the Jinx, right? And for each Fairy, of course, the HP he's getting is higher, because it comes from me, from each of the Fairies that is up right now. And of course, what I did is I only spawned the Youth Fairy, and of course you saw that I healed up my my Eka Flip like that, right? Now as you can see, since the first one was to spawn was the Simulating Word, so the AP Fairy, and then the Debuff Fairy, so now the last one that was spawned was the debuff one, so I could like debuff the Jinx from my Eka Flip, and then I could like rebuff AP. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you, and that's exactly how you kind of need to like. It's kind of like take us a moment like to get the muscle memory of it. However, practice that, and you guys you obviously keep in mind how much MP got your fairies, which is I believe it's 5 or 6. I even forgot. I forgot. Imagine. It's 5. I mean, it can be 6 if you buff the MP like this. To imagine that I forgot just the moment I spawned them a second ago, but I guess that's the video recording stress. Not actually, I sometimes have that kind of like memory. Anyways, but that doesn't matter. Make use of this spell like this. And of course, if you enjoyed the video today, it was 2 fights in 3v3. Maybe if you want to, I can in the future maybe upload also like for a 1v1s. I'm doing 3 fights. Maybe I can do 2 fights for 3v3. And let me know if you would maybe want me to record my. I mean, maybe I can even think about it myself. But you can tell me. Would you rather have like my live commentary like I had on in the first match, but where I've been like struggling to even focus what to talk about, or maybe do you want me to make a commentary right after the game, which I've been doing in my older videos and in my second game today? You can let me know, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, check out me on the Twitch TV /Nevalon V2, and join the international Discord server. All the links are in the description as usual. And see you guys in the next one. Take care.